Hi again. It's time to continue to Losers Club by Andrew Clements. We're going to start on page 25, chapter 6, The Wrong Kid. I just need to find one other kid before 6 o'clock tomorrow. As Mr. Wilner walked over to help at the robotics table, Alec looked at the clock again. It was only 5:30, so he had some time right now. He sat down on the floor and read the club application form. One sentence stood out to him. Any student attending extended day may join any club at any time. So if he got a new club started, he could end up at a table loaded with kids. And a bunch of kids usually meant a bunch of talking and goofing around, lots of interruptions, which wouldn't make reading impossible, just more difficult, like trying to read in the same room with his little brother. It would be great to keep the club small, and the best, a total membership of 2. But how? How could he keep kids away from something as awesome as a reading club? Then Alec smiled. The answer seemed obvious. Instead of calling it a reading club, he was going to call it something else. On the application form, he filled out the name and the purpose of the club, and at the bottom, he signed his name on one of the 2 lines labeled founding members. Then Alec stood up, and for the first time, he took a careful look at the other extended day kids. He estimated that there were between 40 and 50 boys and girls in the gym, all 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. Alec was able to pick out a few 6th graders he knew, but no one he would really call a friend. The truth was, Alec had spent much more time with his books during the past 5 years than he'd spent hanging around with other kids. A burst of cheering at the kickball area pulled Alec's attention to the far corner, and there, just rounding third base and charging for home plate, he saw Kent Blair. 3 extra hours every day in the same room with Kent? Not good. True, the gym was a very big room, but Kent had a way of taking more than his share of everything. While Alec was grumbling to himself about Kent, he spotted someone else, Dave Hampton, back along the wall beyond the kickball diamond. Dave lived just around the corner from him, and like Kent, he had been a friend starting all the way back in preschool. When they were little, Alec and Kent and Dave had played a lot together. They had even gone to swimming camp one summer, splashing around a pool every afternoon for 2 weeks. The difference between Kent and Dave was still a nice guy. Alec walked across the gym to the games corner. At first, he thought he might have to wait for a break in the action to get a chance to talk with Dave. But then he saw there wasn't a real game going on. It was more like a kickball exhibition with Kent as the main attraction. Every time he booted a big kick, 3 or 4 girls would jump up and clap and yell, "Yay, go, Kent, go!" Girls seemed interested in everything Kent did, something Alec had noticed before. Dave walked toward the drinking fountain, and Alec hurried over and pulled him aside. "Hey, Dave, how's it going?" Dave smiled, surprised. "Hi, I didn't know you were an extended day." "Yeah, I just started this year," Alec said. "So listen, I've got an idea." He held out his application and said, "How about the 2 of us start a new club? We have to get it going in a hurry, like today, because we've only got till tomorrow to get enrolled in an activity. All you have to do is sign down there next to my name." As Dave took the application, a hand reached over his shoulder and snatched the paper away. It was Kent. "Hey, look at this. Me and Alec and Dave just hanging out just like the old days. So what are we doing here, guys?" He took a quick look at the application and a big grin spread across his face. Kent handed the application back to Dave. "Don't let me interrupt. Go ahead, Alec. Tell Dave here all about your exciting new club." It only took Dave a moment to read the application. He looked at Alec and shook his head. "I don't know if this is for me. It sounds kind of stupid," said Kent. "Is that the word you're looking for? Because it does sound totally stupid. And Alec here, he must think that you're stupid enough to want to help him start a club for losers." Alec smiled at Dave, ignoring Kent. He said, "I know it sounds sort of stupid, but it's supposed to. That's the whole point. And if we don't start a club of our own, then after tomorrow, we'll have to join something like chess club or robotics club, or else play indoor kickball until we go completely nuts." Kent stuck out his chin. "Hey, guess what, Alec? Me and Dave, we're all signed up with the active games. We like playing kickball, and we're really good at it. And Dave's not going to be part of starting some club for losers. That's that." Right, Dave? Dave's face was red and he seemed tongue-tied. He was stuck in the middle of an argument between Alec and Kent, just like dozens of times before. Alec talked directly to Kent now. It's not a club for losers. It's just called the Losers Club so that nobody else will want to join. But because that means Dave and I can have our own table over in a corner somewhere and do whatever we want. Look, said Kent, everybody knows that what you're actually going to do is sit around every afternoon and read. So the name of your dumb club doesn't matter at all. It's just going to be a hangout for Alec, the bookworm. Alec's eyes narrowed. It was the second time today Kent had thrown that word at him, and he felt a rush of anger and then a sharp gust of memory. At his 8th birthday party, one of his presents had been a new book. He'd torn off the wrapping, and then he sat down and read that book for 40 minutes, right in the middle of his own party. When he suddenly realized that the party was almost over, he ran out into the backyard, and Kent had kicked the soccer ball to him and called out, "Hey, look who's back. It's Alec, the bookworm." The other guys had laughed, and they picked up on the name. "Hey, bookworm, welcome back to the party." "Yeah, did you have fun in Wormland? Squish that ball over here, bookworm." Kent was the first kid who had ever called him bookworm, and the label had followed him to school. Alec had heard it a lot, especially from Kent. Did he deserve the name? Sure he did, and Alec understood that. He really did love to read, so being called the bookworm almost felt like an honor. And most of the time, it didn't bother him. But the way Kent said it, that was different. Alec still hoped that Dave would think for himself and like the idea, so he kept on explaining. "But really, Dave, the name of the club does matter. It's the club. If the club has an ordinary name, then other kids will probably try to join, and Kent interrupted, you don't want to be bothered by other kids because all you really want to do is sit around often and be a bookworm, just like I said." Almost yelling, Alex said, "I don't have to read all the time. I mean, Dave and I could talk or play some board games. We could do all kinds of stuff." "Yeah," Kent smirked, "like total losers." "Wow, you've got Dave in a really tough spot here, Alec. Is he going to play some epic kickball games, or is he going to join the losers parade over in Wormsville?" Kent turned and walked away, and over his shoulder he said, "I'll be at home plate choosing a fantastic team." Dave's face was still red. He shrugged and he tried to smile, but he couldn't. He handed the sheet back. I think I'd rather do the active game stuff. Sorry, Alec." Then he hurried away to catch up with Kent. For the final 15 minutes of extended day, as the girls cheered for Kent, Alec slid back into hiding at the Lego table, and he didn't care whether Mrs. Case saw him there or not. He tried to pick up where he had stopped reading, but he couldn't get into it because every few minutes he heard Kent's voice echoing inside his head, "Bookworm." And that's it for that chapter.